Could Hakari win a domain clash with Sukuna? Let's talk about it, but manga spoilers beware. First off, let me give a shout out to User for asking this question today, and let me move out of the way for anybody that wants to pause and read the full question. But the important distinction here is that Sukuna would be using a closed barrier. So what would happen in the domain clash if both were using closed domains? Because obviously Sukuna's open domain, it would be a completely different situation, right? So we're not talking about that. So with that out of the way, let's get into this. So first of all, obviously Hakari is nowhere even near the level of Sukuna. So the reason this is even a question is because of some of the things we know about Hakari's domain. Namely from the Kashimo fight, where we find out that his activation surpasses even Mahito's in Shibuya, which remember, Mahito's activation was a 0.2 second domain. So Hakari's is even faster than that. And the reason it can activate so quickly is because it's harmless. His sure hit effect is not some lethal slash like Cleaver Dismantle, right? Instead, it is just the transmission of his domain's rules, the complicated rules of the pachinko machine, right? And for anybody that needs a breakdown of Hakari's domain, I do have a video out there on that, so check it out. But so, because of this, because it's so fast and so quick to activate, Hakari's domain is great in tug-of-war matches. So, did those conditions of it mean it could even beat Sukuna's closed domain? So my gut instinct here is no, just because Sukuna is Sukuna, right? He's on a completely different level. So no matter the advantages Hakari's domain has due to the way it's uniquely set up, I think it would still be outmatched by Sukuna's refinement. But I think there's wiggle room here because we honestly just don't have enough information on how that type of domain clash would even work. Because we honestly haven't seen that many in the manga so far, right? The best example we have is Gojo Sukuna, but again, Sukuna's was an open domain, and those were stated to be equally refined, which is important. As far as two closed domains clashing, haven't been that many examples, right? We do have the three-way domain clash with Akotsu, but that just got, thwarted so quickly, we really didn't get to see the aftermath of how that would have worked. Other than that, we saw the Gojo Jogo domain clash, but they didn't happen at the same time. Gojo let Jogo open his to kind of teach Yuji something, and then he opened his and just completely obliterated it, right? Then the only really example we have other than that is when Megami and Dagon were domain clashing, but again, there, Dagon's domain was already open, and Megami kind of entered the scene, right? So what would happen if Hakari and Sukuna simultaneously tried to open their domains? I think that Hakari's would still activate faster, but does that even really matter? Sure, Sukuna gets the sure hit effect of the information about the pachinko machine coming into his mind, but then if he opens his domain, I think it's going to obliterate Hakari's just in terms of being stronger, the same way Gojo's did to Jogo, right? The only really out here, I think, is if there is an exact simultaneous domain opening that one may just destroy the other. And so are we thinking because Hakari's is quicker, that it would do that to Sukuna's? And my gut instinct would be no, because it would be more based on refinement in a simultaneous activation, more so than the speed of the sure hit effect, even when the domain expansions are the same time. This is getting very wordy, but I hope kind of the nuance of what I'm saying is making sense here. Long story short, I think Sukuna would win, but I could see there being an interesting interaction there, especially with where we are again in the manga right now, with Sukuna potentially getting his domain back. Maybe Hakari does like a Hail Mary that buys them some fraction of an amount of time. I don't think Hakari's going to completely destroy Sukuna's domain if he reopens it, but, maybe it could do something. So to tie a little bow on all of my thoughts here, I don't think Hakari would win a domain clash against Sukuna, but I could see him doing something the same way Megami did to Dagon, where let's say Sukuna has a closed domain open, Hakari could try to open his, and maybe the refinement of it would be enough to cancel out Sukuna's sure hit effect, buying everybody some time, but I don't think Hakari's domain would overpower Sukuna's. But I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on this in the comments. And User, thank you again, man.